So you have the 30% unrealized P&L rule. You have the 30% consistency rule. You have the scaling rule that almost no one talks about. And then on top of all things, you still have the size consistency rule. And this is just a few, but it is the main rules that everyone's always complaining about with Apex. All these rules are rules that I hear oftentimes in the comment section of my videos from people complaining, specifically new traders who are overwhelmed by the rules. Is there a way to fix this? Let's talk about it. Coming at you still from the floor of the Keys, down here in the lower Keys, enjoying some time in the sun. Your boy is back at it again. Now let me tell you something. This video isn't a video to knock Apex and talk a whole bunch of crap about Apex. Lord knows I've made a bunch of money this year on Apex, and I've gotten a ton of payouts approved. With that said, I have had some payouts denied. People often say, oh, of course you're gonna get your payout approved. You're an influencer, you're a YouTuber, you're this, you're that, you're an affiliate. It doesn't really matter. I've had payouts denied, and I've been transparent with you about those payouts. I've even shown you how I fixed them and had them approved later on. Some of the payouts that I've been denied were denied because of the consistency rule, and that's usually been the case for me because I like to let my winners run. But the most recent one was one of the rules. It's a newer rule that came into effect recently. It was the one where you have to have, out of your 8 days where you have to trade to get your payout, you need 5 days that are each day $50 or more in profit. And my bad, I had one day that I was missing with $50 before I put in for the payout request, and I was denied, but I fixed it and I got myself $5,000 in payouts across 3 accounts. Now, I believe there's always room to improve, and that's what this video is going to be about, because I'm going to go over these rules that people complain about the most and how I think it can be fixed. Guys, so we're going to go over these rules here, and like I said, I'm going to give you the rules I would take out. I'm going to tell you the rules I will substitute them with. And I want you to right now drop in the comment section and let me know what rules you absolutely hate and what you would like to see them do with such rules, or what rules you would like to see them implement as a substitute to the rules you hate. Put it in the comment section for me right now. Let's talk about it. The very first rule we're going to talk about after you smash the like button for me and subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and check out the links in the description and comment section of the video. Coupon code all caps Jesse, JesseW, gets you the deepest discounts with all the prop firms that you want to trade with. Now, the very first rule is going to be the one that everyone, most especially newer traders, are very confused about. I get asked all the time in the comment section of my videos and in the comment sections of my posts on YouTube and even on X. I get asked all the time, Jesse, I'm still confused about the 30% unrealized P&L rule. People are getting this rule confused consistently. And honestly, it's crazy to me because it's not a difficult rule to understand. However, I can see and understand why newer traders are a little bit overwhelmed with this rule, because it's a rule that affects your unrealized P&L. And while it's a rule that isn't going to shut you down, it's a rule you got to be mindful of. I've explained this rule with examples in another video where I go over Apex 3.0 rules, and I go over how to go about not violating that rule. I don't have a huge problem with that rule because I don't tend to take on that amount of huge risk on a per trade basis, and I keep my dollar amount risk per trade roughly the same on each and every trade. However, because this is one of the rules that everyone is so flustered with and so confused and they're afraid to click the button and take trades with, I would do away with this rule. That would be the very first thing I would do if I was in charge of Apex rules. I would do away with the unrealized 30% rule. But relax, those of you who like that rule because it keeps you in control, I do have an answer for it. I do have a substitute for it, and we'll go over that in the latter half of the video. First, we're going to go over the rules I would take out, and then we're going to go over with the rules that I will substitute with. So first and foremost, we're going to take out the 30% unrealized rule that everyone is still confused about. Next, we're going to remove what I call the phantom scaling rule. The phantom scaling rule, that's what I've named it. No one's naming it that. I bet you everybody's going to start naming it that. The phantom scaling rule is that when you have a brand new PA, you have, let's say, the $50,000 PA, you can trade 10 minis or 100 micros. However, until you hit threshold, you're not allowed to trade all of those. You're not allowed to trade full size. You're only allowed to trade 50% or less. Meaning, if you're allowed to trade, if your account sustains 10 minis, right, you're only allowed to trade 5 until you hit the threshold. In the case of the 50K account, once you hit $2,600 in the account as balance and profit, you open up to being able to trade all 10 contracts. But there's a problem here because most people aren't aware of that rule. And not only that, it's not like in Top Step where, like, for example, I'm in a brand new XFA. When I click buy a mini, I can buy 2. If I try to buy a third, it won't let me because it has a scaling rule. With Apex, it will allow you to continue buying until you reach all 10. However, there is that rule. It's a soft breach rule, meaning that you won't lose your account. It's not a direct huge violation. If you accidentally buy more than 5 minis or 50 micros, you're going to want to exit those extra ones right away. More than likely, if you exit them right away, within a few seconds, you're not going to get dinged, more than likely, in my opinion. However, that's that rule there. I would do away with that rule. So we'll remove the phantom scaling rule in the sense that it's a phantom scaling rule, meaning that it's very easy for you to violate and it could potentially hurt your account. Next, here's a big one for me. And let me tell you something. From the payouts I've been denied, I've never been denied a payout because of the unrealized 30% rule. I've never been denied a payout because of the phantom scaling rule. And I've never been denied a payout for this, which is let's remove the size consistency rule. The size consistency rule means that you cannot trade wildly different sizes on a day-to-day basis. Now look, this doesn't affect me in the least bit, and I scale in and out of trades, always have, always will, because it's part of my strategy. I like to scale in and out of my trades. That's how I allow my winners to run longer periods of time. So I understand that some people will have a problem with this, and very recently I've noticed that the micros are pretty damn good to trade with. I have not traded them with Apex because I suspect that I would have a problem with the size consistency rule if I did that. Just the other day I was trading at Top Step, and intraday I traded to the same side micros and minis together at the same time with the same account, right? Because I was just trying to leverage differently. I was trying to protect myself while still being able to have some runners going on. I started off the day trading micros to get myself into a level I wanted to, and then I had a little cushion on the day. I went ahead and switched over to the minis, taking on more risk. I really enjoyed being able to do that, just like I was able to enjoy taking on 2 micros and then taking on 1 mini and allowing those trades in the NQ to work themselves out, netting me profit on both. You can't do that over at Apex. So like over at Apex, I typically trade in minis, 1 to 3 to 4 minis, depending on the setup, depending where my stop is. The most I'll usually take is going to be 5 minis in a $50,000 account, but I rarely do that. This week, I think I did it 1 time, but it's because it's 2 accounts that had big cushions in them. Now, I like to be able to do that. I like to be able to trade maybe 1 or 2 minis here today and maybe 3 to 4 tomorrow, because it's going to depend on whether or not I have A+ setups going on and whether or not my stop is closer on any given trade, because I always try to keep that dollar amount risk on a per trade basis rather close, rather the same. So I would do away with that so that traders can trade the same thing as, if they want to trade micros or if they want to trade minis, all within the same day. So as long as you're obviously not hedging, meaning you're not getting short 2 minis and then going out there and getting short long for 40 micros, or whatever the case is. As long as you're not hedging, then it's fine, it's good to go. So I would remove those 3 rules. Let's recap them. I would remove the 30% unrealized rule because it's just causing too much confusion and it's needless, and we're going to fix it. We're going to make it better. We're going to go ahead and we're going to remove the scaling, the phantom scaling rule, okay? But we're going to fix that. We're going to make it better. Then we're going to go ahead and remove the size consistency rule. Going to get rid of that entirety because I feel that if you allow traders to trade, between micros and minis or various different sizing a little bit looser, it's going to allow these traders to be able to manage their risk a little bit better. Now, I understand by removing these and in their entirety, it might open the door, or it might open the floodgates to scammers and schemers again like they had in the past. But there is a fix for that because we're going to substitute some of these rules, and here's my idea. All right, in order to take away the 30% unrealized rule that's going on right now, what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of that, but we're going to introduce something that you're not gonna like. And at the beginning, you're gonna jump off the seat. You're gonna be like, damn it, Jesse, don't even mention that. We're gonna set up a max drawdown on the day, but slow down, relax. What we're gonna do is we're gonna base it off of the same as the 30% rule. We're gonna base it off of your profit on the day. If you haven't hit threshold, we'll base it off of your threshold, and it's a soft breach rule, meaning if you hit it on the day, it'll just lock you out. It'll lock you out of the account for that day. This is going to help. Why? Because the 30% unrealized rule is really meant to help traders stop risking too much and going for home runs on each and every single trade, blowing up and blowing up and blowing up. So by putting this soft breach rule, we're going to go ahead and we're going to make sure that you don't lose the account. You're just going to get locked out for the day so you don't go on tilt. Look, man, none of us are exempt from going on tilt. I've been doing this now for like 7 or 8 years. I don't even know. I'd have to count. And I'm still prone to going on tilt. The only difference is that I'll catch myself, a quarter way through it, and I'm like, whoa, pull the reins back, buddy. All right. You ain't Warren Buffett, step away. So I'll catch myself. But before, back in the day, I wouldn't catch myself. I'll never forget it. It's on the channel here, me going over this. There was a big day I went on tilt. It was early in my career, and I was down $4,000 on the day. All right. In a $30,000 account. And this wasn't a prop account. This was my money, my cash sitting in an equities account on E-Trade. And I was trading Tesla options. All right. And I was down 4,000 on the day. And I was like, what are you doing? I pulled back the reins. I stopped and looked at my computer screen, and I'm like, what are you doing? Back then, do you make $4,000 in a day? And the answer to that was clearly no. Like, what the freaking hell are you doing? What business do you have in risking and losing $4,000 on the day if you've never even made $4,000 in one day? And that was a big wake-up call for me. So by doing this, it's going to help keep you away from going on tilt. You'll just get locked out of the account. And look, let's be real. Most of us have more than one PA anyways. So just you relax, you take a step away, come back, open up one of your other PAs and trade from a place of calmness. And this is where the ability to be able to go and trade minis or micros at any given time can help, because you can come back and trade in another account, trade some micros, relax, and take it easy. Next, we're going to go ahead and increase the consistency rule. That's right. The consistency rule is 30%, meaning that the total profit in your account, you can't have a single day responsible for more than 30% of that gain, right? So if you have $10,000 in profit in the account, no one day can be over $3,000 in profit. I don't like that very much. Why? Because the way I trade, look, my accuracy can be anywhere between 50 to 60 something percent at any given time, but my risk to reward parameters are very good. Okay, so just the other day when I put in for a payout and I had it denied, it was because out of 8 trading days, all right, I had the bulk of the profit made in 4 days. I think it was in 4 days. I don't think it was in 3 days. It was in 4 days. The bulk of the profit was made in 4 days, but then I had 4 losing days. And what happened there? Remember, you need 5 days of $50 or more. So I only had 4 days. But I had a 50-50, right? 4 red days, 4 green days, but I had over $3,000 in each account in profits. So for me, I like to let my winners run. So that's just me throwing in something that would benefit me personally. It's give me that 40% consistency so that I can at least let my winners run a little bit longer. This is going to help, because now let's say you got locked out of your account one day, but you come back the next day, you could easily make back that red from the previous day, letting those winners run and having a big day. And this isn't you're having a big day because you're chasing home runs. This is having a big day because you caught trend and you let the winner run. You can't let, like, the way I trade, you're never going to catch me with one mini catching a massive move for the most part, because I like to scale out of my trade. So I'm going to have at least 2 minis, and I'm going to take profit on a scalp and then let that runner actually run. Let that sucker run a marathon. So I need that 40%. This is going to help because we've kind of, gotten rid of a bunch of rules that we didn't like, and then I implemented a rule that could kind of constrain you a little bit. But this is how we make a little bit more money, letting that consistency rule be bigger. So by doing the 40% consistency rule, this is going to teach traders how to let winners run. I get asked all the time, Jesse, how can I stay in winning trades longer? Yo, it ain't a secret. The way you let yourself stay in winning trades longer is by being able to scale out. You'll get a lot of yahoos online tell you, oh no, hold your entire position until your target. That's the biggest bullshit you've ever heard in your life, because you could easily be up $2,000 unrealized, but your last target doesn't get hit, or your only target actually doesn't get hit, and that trade turn all the way back around and stop you out for a loss. And you're like, man, what the hell happened? Well, who knows? A piece of news came out, anything could have come out and hurt that trade. This is why you scale out of the trade. This is how you let your winners run. This is how you stay in winning trades longer. All right, next, what we're gonna do is, instead of having that phantom 50% rule on the scaling rule, we're gonna make it an actual rule, right? Right out the gates in your brand new PA, you're only allowed to trade half the size the PA allows normally, but we're not gonna leave it out there just willy-nilly. No, it's gonna be hard locked. Just like when I'm in my XFA with Top Step, I can only trade 2 minis. It doesn't matter how many times I click the freaking button, I'm only allowed 2 minis as I'm in the scaling plan. Well, it's the same thing. But in this case, we're not going to do the whole thing where, oh, you can only trade 2 now, only trade 3 here. No. Out the gate, if you're in a $50,000 account, you could trade 5 minis if you want. I wouldn't. You're probably going to blow that sucker up like this, but you can if you want. Now, once we hit threshold, we're going to be able to open up and allow ourselves to trade all 10. But this is going to be a hard set rule, meaning that even if you click the button, it's not going to allow you to trade more than 50% of the size the account is set for until you hit threshold. This is going to help you not blow up as quickly as you would if you're one of those traders that just tries to trade full huge size out the gates. And then lastly, what we're going to do is we're going to update that 1995 dashboard. It's crazy. I don't like the dashboard at all because it's just not, it's not user friendly in the sense of a good tool. So what I want to see in that dashboard is I want to see a checklist. And I had already mentioned this prior, right? Before I even started trading at Top Step as well, where you can see whether or not you've broken a rule in a PA. Look, I don't give a damn about rules in a funded account, because who cares? When it really matters, if you're disciplined enough, you can get into a PA, into an evaluation, pass it quickly, and then go into your PA and trade more disciplined. I do it all the damn ass time. But I know I've been at this a lot longer than some of you. Now, I believe that as an adult, you should be able to do this as well. So I don't really care about evaluation rules. We're just talking about PA rule. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna have that checklist on the dashboard of your PAs, all right? Of your dashboard right there, you log in and you can see what PAs you have. Like you can see them now, you can see their P&L. You can see the graph of your equity curve and all that good stuff. But I want a checklist there, all right? If you've met the criteria for a payout, then you're able to do it. So you'll see a checklist. Have you traded 8 days? Check. Have all from the 8 days, have they, do you have at least $50 or more? Check. Did you abide by the scaling rule? Check. Did you stay within the 40% consistency rule? Check, right? And so on and so forth. This way, there's no guessing game and there's no issues. Look, when I put in for a payout request, I fully expect to get paid because for the most part, unless I had an accident like last time, I believe that I've passed all the rules. Because in general, this is just the way I trade. It fits me so perfectly because I manage risk, or I try to manage risk, extremely meticulous. And I believe that's what these rules are meant for at Apex. I just think that there's a better way to make them user friendly, like I just went over, and with the dashboard that has the check marks there, it's idiot proof. You'll know whether or not you failed or not failed, but whether or not you violated a rule. And if you did, you'll be able to, just like now, I get asked all the time, oh, Jesse, if you violate a rule with Apex, you lose your account. No, right? You'll be able to just trade 8 more days, put in for another payout. So what'll happen in this case is, instead of putting in for a payout, being denied because you violated a rule, having to trade 8 more days, you just won't put in for a payout. You won't put in for a payout until you reach that you've clicked those check marks, meaning you've traded 8 days without breaking a rule. Then you put in for a payout. Simple as that. Love it. I think if Apex was able to do this, they're already huge. They're already probably the biggest prop firm. They probably are the biggest prop firm that we have out there right now with the most amount of users. If Apex was able to do what I've just described here, I think there's no one can touch them. Like, they'll just be unstoppable between their pricing, their payouts, the amount of accounts you can have, and this dashboard and these rules. Chef's kiss, guys. That's my opinion anyways. I just bought a bunch of more Apex accounts right now, turn those suckers into PAs, and guess what? Make more money going into 2025. Let me know your thoughts. Comment in the comment section below. Smash the crap out of that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell for me. And I will catch you on the next one. Peace.